This is Daf Yerushalmi Kilayim, the last blot in the Masechta. The article is for other edition. Daf paid out, and we are mamish in Daf paid out and off in the beginning of Gemara. And Chenina Amar, which in the Vilna is on Mem Daud Amar Alf, right after the Mishnah Lachavav, Rabbi China Amar. Okay, and I'm going to go with this Gemara here with the Shari Torah's Eretz Yisrael. The Shari Torah Yisrael says, Rabbi China Amar Ad Yechus Kos Yisrael. So far, there's no change of gears. So he says, where's Chanina? Rabbi Chanina was stated on that which it says in Shabbos, Perek Zayin Mishnah Beis, among the Lamates Malachas, HaTefer Shtei Tfiros, somebody who sews 2 stitches. Now, Chanina holds that every one of these stitches is halach nava. In other words, the 2 tefillos are not in and out, but in, out, in, out. Okay? In other words, you have to have 2 tefillos of in out, like 2 staples. Okay? So on that, each Yechus Kol Sitra means go down the entire side. In other words, you go back again, down the side. It's not really the entire side, but it means 2 tefillos, right? As opposed to 1 stitch, you need 2 stitches. Okay, so the Gemara says, Rabbi Yana said, Rabbi Chanina. Right, they said to Chanina, Tseukra. Now, usually Tseukra, I mean, look at the pasuk, but here it means look at the Mishnah. It says, V'latina, then we learn, also Shnei Roshel Litzat Echad. It says you put the two heads to one side. Now, where it says me'ata ad yochus v'yesuk, so the way the Chatereso changed it says me'ata ad yechus v'yesuk v'yechus v'yesuk. In other words, the Asa Shtei Roshel inside Echo, which it says in our Mishnah, sounds like just 1 stitch. According to it should say twice. Yechus v'yesuk, right? Yechus, go in, Yesuk, come out, and Yechus v'Yesuk, again, a second time, right? Because you need to have, according to Rabbi Chainin, have both, right? Again, it should be Adatad Yechus v'Yesuk, Yechus v'Yesuk, Vatani, Rabbi Yehuda Achi Shalish. It says, Rabbi Yehuda says Achi Shalish, 2 to 3. Me'ata ad Yechus v'Yesuk, and the Yechus, it says in line or so it's words, adds the next words, 3 words, v'yesuk v'yechus v'yesuk. Right? It should say it should say that yechus v'yesuk, because you're quite 3. Yechus v'yesuk once, yechus v'yesuk twice, yesuk v'yesuk a 3rd time. Right? So the Gemara says El ha'chein ha'chein. Says it doesn't specify this, which it should specify. That's what Mishnah means. It's just really not like Reb China. It's not 2 stitches. 1 stitch is enough. 1 staple-like stitch, going Yechus v'Yesuk, going in, coming back. That's sufficient order to be Chayiv, because it's Chayiv and Chayiv on Shabbos as well. Okay, says the Gemara further. Chutz yishchil l'machat. Abil kosher mikan l'kan. You have a string, which you which you stuck into a needle. Even if it's tied on both sides, eino chibur lebeged. It's not going to be connected to the garment. So the Chaim has very fascinating shot here. He says again, chutzin shlemach adu kosh mekan eino chibur, not lebeged, but rather eino chibur. Period. It's not chibur. No, it's not chibur to the machat. Meaning, if the machat becomes tamei, the thread does not become tamei, and vice versa. I guess if the thread becomes tamei, the needle does not become tamei. Even you have you put the thread through the eye of the needle, and you tie the thread, so it's not going to come out. It's not going to say b'chuber. The needle becomes tamei, the thread does not become tamei, and vice versa. If the thread becomes tamei, the needle does not become tamei as well. But tafra labeged. In other words, he says, he stopped after Eno Chibur before, he doesn't take out the word beged. He puts around the word tough. tougher the beged, if you took that same chut and you sewed through the garment, chut chibul abiyah beged. It's connected to the beged. Ain't no chibul l'macha. It's still not connected. Considered to be mechuber to the needle. So evidently that's a simple chiluk because you intend to leave it in the garment. That's why it's on the garment. You don't intend to leave it attached to the needle, even though now it's firmly attached to the needle because they're not. It's not going to be made that way. So it's not a chibur l'tuma to the needle, but it's a chibur l'tuma to the beged. Rabbi Yossi Tavar Amin B'Kashur Mikan. It's got to be even though we said in Pashas that a stitch is said to be connected enough to be sewing for the garment. It's not really enough. It has to be talking about where you tie the two sides of the thread that they can't come out of the garment. In other words, yes, you go back, you go yechus v'yesuk, go in and out. Still not enough. Those loose ends have to be tied together. Otherwise, it's not considered to be a chibur. Mi'ez Rabban Plin, Rabban Tidargi, Rabbi Yerushalmi Rav Hamantiach Stodim b'Shabbos, somebody who pulls the needle to what's the word to no word's escaping me to tighten the thread on Shabbos chai mishum teifer, right? So it's chai because of teifer. Wait a minute, but if you require tying together, v'yem mishum teifer v'mishum kosher, then say chayav twice. Chayav teifer and kosher because you have to tie, otherwise it's going to be a tefillah. So if you only chayav once, it must be that there's a separate chayav of tefillah for going in and out like the stitch, even if you're not going to tie it. Okay, the Gemara doesn't. The Gemara leaves it at that. Rabbi Sun said, "Time of Rabbi Yehuda." Rabbi Yehuda said you have to have three, right? In, out, in again. By having that third stitch, then it's going to stay in place, intact. Presumably, even without tying it, right? That's the whole point, right? Because still now we said it's not, we left it dangling, but it sounds like we don't need to tie it. But Rabbi Yehuda is saying no, that's still not considered to be fully permanent, so to speak, until you have in, out, in. Okay. What does Rabbi Yehuda like? Rabbi Yehuda like Rabbi Lezer? The word of there, Rabbi Lezer, Horek Shlosha Chutim B'Tchila. Somebody who weaves three threads initially, or achas arik, or adds one thread on already woven material. It's chayav. So it sounds like here 3 stitches like 3 threads. So that's what our Rabbi Yehuda said. Time with Rabbi Lezer Tamanai Deshlish Mitzchayim must be Mitzchayemis. There, Rabbi Lezer Taka holds by the third, on account of the third thread, it's going to stay in place. But here, Pachos Mikan, even less. Here, and the Reb Chaim from the Rebbe Malkit says, the Reb Matz puts in Pachos Mikan et lo mistater. It's so I guess he means that Rabbi Lezer, who requires 3 at the edge of a weave, is going to say that's by the edge of a weave, but not necessarily in the case of a sewing. Sewing, perhaps you don't need to have 3 stitches, the 3 stitches in and out, but 2 is enough. Yeah. So okay. Rabbi Shimon Levin said, "Lo shana ella shel sak." Okay, so this is we said in our Mishnah that hasak v'kuba mitzdarfin l'kilayim. Sak kuba to join together. Kilayim we gave yesterday one pshat named Rambam, the other pshat name of the Rash. So we're going to go now with the Rambam. So the let's say they sak or a kupa, then with starf the kilayim. Those the sak or kupa combines with the padding inside for kilayim. Losha el sak hasal lo. So he says, but not a basket. A basket that doesn't evidently it's not considered uh, it's not considered to be one beged in terms of kilayim. We said and well, going to Rash. Well, first let's go to Rash. Rash says that it's not considered. In other words, if you sew linen to sack to wool, so then it's always going to be one chibur. But if you sew linen to a basket to wool, that's not considered to be a chibur, and it's not kilayim. According to Rambam, you have to explain that the basket, since it has holes, you can remove the padding, the wool and linen separately, and therefore the fact that they are connected within the basket, that's not considered enough of a tziruf that there should be considered to be kilayim. Ashkach Tani, so we that was when we said name of Shuman Levi, but then we find a Bryce that said Hasaba Asul Kuba Mitzdarni Kilayim. No, also the sound does join together for kilayim, not like we just suggested. All in kilayim. If you're sitting under a tent which is made of kilayim, there's no problem. It's not an issue. Thereby, who would know Mashi start from the kilayim? Rabbi Yima asked that and its son. He and his son are they Mitzvah for kilayim? So it's a very weird question. What does he mean? So it says Marhechavida. What is that? Who lavish mani damar? He's wearing wool clothing. Ubray lavish mani sukitan, and his son is wearing linen clothing. Nasav piske damar. He took a belt of wool. The Reb Chaim says that it's talking about money in the Amar is socks. Okay, but anyway, he takes a string of thread and wraps them among both of them to connect them. Is it considered to be kilayim? Because they're going to start walking, it's going to, or perhaps when they start walking, it's going to disconnect. So it's not kilayim. So I guess they were getting ready for a three-legged race or something like that, and they tied together their legs. One's a sack of linen, one's a sack of wool, and they tied together. I'm not sure why it makes sense what material they tied it with. It could be wool or linen, but in any event, is that considered to be wearing or not wearing? I'm not even sure why it's about he's wearing linen and his son is wearing. He's wearing wool and his son's wearing linen. They're both wearing linen and the belt is as wool or vice versa. That should be a problem in of itself. Anyway, that's the case. Nasa piske the marva of the tarvein. He wrapped around both of them. Amr Rabbi said, "Hahain nu nashuch." Is it? It sounds like a modern day usage of new. New. Is this nashuch? You say it's not. This has got to be a really strong connection, and this is not a strong connection. That can't be the case, and therefore it's not going to be a problem. A very strange Gemara. This will just interpret it as Reb Chaim interprets it. So the Rashi really makes it a little bit more complex, but perhaps more easy to understand. He says that he's wearing wool, his son is wearing linen, and he sewed them together. Actually, what he was wearing with what his son is wearing with two stitches, and then for belt and suspenders, he put a belt of wool on the two of them that they shouldn't separate from each other, because he says if not for there being this belt and suspender situation with there being sewing and a belt, obviously going to separate from each other. Two different people wearing two different things. Anyway, so the Gemara also says, according to this, you're going to say this is considered to be connected with each other. They're definitely going to split apart. Okay, I'm not sure that helps us very, very much, but that's the way the Rashi really explains it. The one thing that the Gra does do here is he takes out Nasi Piske da Amar, he takes the word Amar, which makes sense, because who cares what the belt is made out of? As long as he's wearing one is wool, one is linen, and somehow they're connected with each other, We really don't care what the belt. We shouldn't care what the belt is made out of. Okay, Rabbi Chagai boy, who atzmo manshi yitzaref l'kilayim? Can he himself be mitzaref l'kilayim? Rabbeinu, what's the case? Who lavish dar desin damar? He's wearing socks of cotton of wool, bechad l'kilayim, 1 foot. Without desin l'kilayim bechad l'kilayim, and wearing socks of linen on another on his other leg. So perhaps it's only about stockings of some sort, where somehow they connect together, because just having 2 leggings doesn't seem to be a tziyuf whatsoever. When it says somebody else, hey, do nashuch, is this considered to be connected? Says, you know what? You're right. Lo tzurcha da ella. So a question of you're right. That's not a question of itself. But hayu berosho petzius. You had at the had wounds. A person had wounds. Not do the socks. A person had wounds. And he says the way I said, Rosho. The Reb Chaim, the article has Rosho. The Reb Chaim has Rishon. What does the Vilna have? Rosho. Okay, here's a mate. Are you Rishon? Yeah, and wounds. You have Sipane, he put bandages, the smartut amar of woolen rags, al chada, on one of the wounds, the Sapane, the smartut kitan, al chada. And he put on the other wound, linen bandages. Again, it's very difficult to understand why this Hamin should be awesome. And where it says quite clearly, I'm going to see Vahenu Nashuch. What do you mean? What's the connection between the two? So what does Rashi say here? Rashi says, so yeah, he says that these two smartuna, these 2 rags were actually sewn together. And nevertheless, Rabbi Yossi says it's okay because they're not nashuch. Because evidently because they're on 2 wounds. Not sure why that makes a difference. It's a little bit difficult the way the Rashi learns it out, but that's how he learns it out. He says if it says on 2 wounds, it's not considered to be nashuch. The way the Pnei Moshe learns it, it's a refutation. He says, when it says Vahenu Nashuch and the socks, he says, Lo Tzurda you a Rosh B'tzios. That's the case. You should ask the case where you had wounds. And you put Sapane the smart Damar Wa Chada Sapane the smart Akina Chada. You want to consider those be connected? In any event, the concern the end of Gemara is Rabbi Yosef Henu Nashuch. Also, they must be significantly attached to each other in a way which is not going to come automatically apart. Otherwise, it's not considered to be kilayim. Hadroch enu asur uslicha meseches kilayim. Mazel tov. Next we will learn shvius.